Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. It's time for match number 2. We had a quick chat about it before the break, but look, break's done. Hopefully, you've got your Mac Jams, Cat Jams, Rat Jams all pumping in the chat because that was a sick song Roddy Rich with Late at Night there. Now, Direwolves and Chiefs, back to the topic at hand. Direwolves, we've already had a quick discussion about them, so let's talk Chiefs first. Skimmy, tell me, why do you love Chiefs and why is Dragku so handsome in the bottom lane? But also, why is Lived playing out of his mind?
Yeah, I mean, Lived really hit us with the curveball, didn't he, right? He was the first one to play this revised version of Dr. Mundo. Then he played the Trendemir and really caught not only ourselves, but then Pentanet off with just the confusion tactic of it all. Then he played it superbly. So, I mean, for me, this is a guy that continues to show up. We had this kind of like narrative of it only being Appy and Biopanther to talk about in the top lane, but I think he's been sort of the steady contender that's been putting in a lot of hard yards to get to where he is here today. And, you know, you look at the Chiefs as a whole, they draft for aggression, they want to get leads, they find leads, but they know how to close them out too. And I find that quite respectable because there's a lot of times where teams are very risk adverse, will not play early game compositions because if you do lose, well, you feel like there's no way to come back into this one. A lot of teams will play the mid to late game compositions, play passive, just wait, almost bait out the opposition making mistakes, but they're allergic to that. They just want to go, and that's exactly what they did here today.
I'm keen to see what they can do here up against Direwolves, because if Direwolves aren't playing their A game and Chiefs are playing out of their mind again, we could see some kind of whitewash, especially if we do see another aggressive draft coming out. But Jubes, you know, any thoughts on this before we start talking about Direwolves?
No thoughts. I think we've hit the nail on the head. You know, there's not much to digest because honestly, they've not really been pushed to their limits. I know they have one loss, but they've just looked really clean. And, you know, one team I guess I'm touching on, and I feel like a broken record tonight, is the Direwolves. Claire, I think, has been getting better and better as weeks go on. Shock, you know, Shock and Only need to, I think, step up as a 2v2, you know. Only and Shock come with two of the biggest reputations that we have left on this server. So, you know, we need to see them really, you know, flex those shoulders like Shock is in that picture. Very got some width on him, the man. And then Gunkrab and Cupcake again. The 2v2 that was meant to just take over Summoner's Rift has, yes, there's been disruptions and they haven't been able to, I guess, string together games like they would like. But you know, they did get better last week, but still not enough. And Claire on the Silas, I think, is quite dangerous. So it's something that they can flex and they do very well on. So. Maybe something for Direwolves to keep their eye on today. But again, some of the nicer moments coming from them here, you know, in this 2v2. It feels like Only and Claire are the ones with the two, you know, most synergy on this composition, which makes sense. They've been playing together for a long time. And, you know, not much to it. Mammoth having, getting ran over in this team fight here. But again, this is kind of what we wanted to see from the Direwolves and what they're capable of, right? When it comes to the 5v5, when it comes to those nameplates. And again, I'm really excited to watch them play because we don't know who's going to turn up. It could be the team that versed Legacy, or it could be the team that, you know, made that late playoff surge come last split. So again, super excited, and I think this is the game of the week for us.
Very true. I think it's the game of the week. And before we jump into the interview, we have to have a quick chat about the content. And Direwolves have got us a nice little team profile. So have a look at this one.
He's the biggest damage component you can see on that score sheet below you, but as one comes up, another falls on down, the Nexus is exposed, and Direwolves looking to just put a bow on it.
So our approach to Split 2, it probably has to be a little bit different to Split 1, just because, you know, we lost so early in the playoffs.
I think the way we got knocked out of Split 1 playoffs wasn't desirable, and it left a bad image on our team, and I feel like we had a lot more to show.
We did some reflecting and some thinking, and we are going to focus on ourselves a lot more. Like, we're our own biggest enemy.
Claire decides now is the time to re-engage, and Gravitas might have overcommitted a little bit here. Kiyosei not able to complete the 1-on-3.
I think one thing our team maybe does uniquely is I think we still maintain a pretty good, happy or positive environment even when we're behind. And I think that does mean that we do win some games that maybe we shouldn't.
Being in the playoffs, for me personally, it feels like the bare minimum in my career. I would be really disappointed if I didn't make playoffs. We will have like a lot of out-meta picks, and we have a lot of pocket picks that people really have to keep in mind.
Fans can look forward to a really aggressive, proactive Direwolves. We're not just gonna roll over and lose like Split 1. We're gonna take the trophy by force.
For me, I guess it's more like just pushing through whoever's in front right now and then worrying about the next opponent.
I'd really want to achieve a big finish, like a win, obviously, or like MVP. I guess I just want to achieve something to be proud of.
I give all of my spare time and thoughts into League, and I compete my hardest, and I am just like as good of a teammate and player as I possibly can be. That's really what I want to try and feel this split.
If you're a fan of Direwolves, you should probably be excited about us winning Split 2, because it's going to happen.
Ooh,
It's going to happen, Mac.
that's it. It apparently is going to happen. So still a little bit of a way to go. I guess it's, the last day of the first round robins, so we could see it all change. Now that Cupcake's back, they're trying to find their feet again. Back to the correct roles. You've got Gunkrab back in the ADC rather than flexing into the support roles. So it's all over the place, but a nice content piece nonetheless to hear from the players all of their thoughts. Now, I think it's time to have a quick chat with Nat. So we love Direwolves, we love Chiefs. Nat, you love Direwolves a little bit more than most, right?
I do. Yep.
Oh.
Just wanted that.
Just me say that.
Yep. Sorry,
No
I had
way.
Phil in my ear at the same time, so I
was-
got all I actually got from you was you like Direwolves, and I was like, yep.
Yes.
And then I listened to Phil.
That's all right.
What you said, Mac, was so true.
Yeah, but
I
you
could
love
not agree more.
you like Chiefs as well, though, right?
Yes, yeah, I do. I do.
Good. Okay. Who don't we like on the desk here?
No
Is it me?
one. No, love everyone.
Oh.
But paddling back to the pedaling? I don't know what the saying is. But back to the Direwolves and Chiefs. I actually had Chiefs a lot higher in my power rankings for this split. And a lot of people kind of question marked me for it. And now they're looking at number 1. In my head, I'm like, did I not put them high enough? I'm pretty sure I put them as number 2, but they're looking really good. So I definitely am a bit of a fan favorite of Chiefs at the moment. They're making my power rankings look really good.
Well, there you go. So Nat's power rankings may be the most accurate. I guess we can have a look at that once we get there. But little birdie told me that there is 2 players waiting down on the side lanes. Who do you have there, Nat?
There is. I'm going to be talking to Only and Swaith, the 2 men that are going to be facing off against each other in the jungle. Thank you both for joining me. Only, I want to ask you a little bit about the past week and coming into this week. You had a rough week last week. But how do you guys keep up? How do you guys keep up the, the positive mentality in the team?
It's definitely a bit of optimism. It is hard to keep positive after losing 2 games, especially to some of the bottom teams. To be fair, we deserve to lose. The teams we lost to played really well. So, but yeah, I mean, just a not giving up attitude, I guess. We still believe that we can be competitive this split, and gonna do our best to do that. So yeah, just not giving up.
Sheer optimism can definitely get you places. What is it that you've looked back on from the last week and tried to improve on?
It's been a lot of individual stuff. We're doing our best to come together as a team, and we're very obviously struggling to do that, but also just being more self-critical about our individual performance, and just a lot of individual work, honestly, and trying to just improve from that. So yeah.
Are you a little bit nervous to be coming up against number 1 team on the ladder tonight?
What reason do I have to be nervous? We lost to Legacy last week. We have nothing to lose at this point. I don't think anyone, unfortunately, I don't think anyone's really expecting us to win, which isn't a position I want to be in, but that's the position we are in. So I'm not nervous. It's if we lose, well, that's what people expected. If we win, or they're let's go, so it's not nervous at all.
Everything's out in the line there. But Swaith, you've been having a pretty stellar performance. How does it feel to be on the top of the ladder? Is this where you expected to be coming towards the end of round 1 of this split?
Yeah, obviously it was phenomenal to be able to be at the top, for once in regular split, because obviously last split we had a pretty terrible run up until playoffs. We never really played to our potential, I feel. So yeah, I definitely feel Chiefs belongs top 2 if we're all playing well, reading the meta well, and continuing to improve. So yeah, I guess just it's as expected so far, but we're not getting complacent about it.
What would you put, you playing so well down to? Because you say, this is what you expect when you guys are playing so well, but what is it that is causing you guys to play so amazingly?
I would just say that we're practicing a lot more. Last split, I wasn't committed full time playing League, and our team like wasn't able to get many scrims. Like we were scrimming bottom tier teams maybe twice a week, and now we are scrimming every single day. We're scrimming like higher quality teams, and like it really shows like in our practice and our performance now that we actually like have the proper time to commit to the game.
Definitely. Is there also maybe this aspect of you guys settling in as a team more, not just like practicing more, but do you know each other's strengths and weaknesses a lot more?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, like we know our identity as a team, like the kind of drafts that we want to pick, like what players are strong on what like champions, what style of champions. So like our drafting is like improved a lot. Like understanding like what will allow us to function as a team best.
I love to see it. I am going to open up the floor and we'll start with you, Swade. If there are any words you guys would like to say to each other.
I mean, I don't have any like shit to talk. Like, let's just
No,
like,
definitely
have
not.
it
It could just be like, man, I'm going to be scared of a certain thing, or like, I hope you do well. It's definitely, it doesn't have to be shit talk.
Yeah, I mean, I just hope it's a close match. That's all. Like, we can like give each other like a good competition.
Okay, snip, snip. Show me the Gwen jungle, my bro. I want to see it. Yeah.
I love it. Thank you both so much for an amazing interview. I'll let you get off to the match and good luck for today.
Thanks,
good luck.
Snip, snip. I guess.
Snip, snip.
So only big fighting words there. Really trying to target the draft and maybe just playing into the Chiefs' heads nice and early. Speaking of the draft, which way do we think this one is going to go? You know, are we going to see that Eve again? Because that was bloody fire last week.
They should remove it, right, Jubes? Like it's too annoying to deal with. Like it changed up the entire game.
I mean, it also comes down to like sometimes playing against Evelyn makes you play better in a weird way because you know you have to invest in pink wards. I mean, if you didn't know already in a competitive sense, like if you're not buying 2 pink wards on a reset, what are you doing? What are you guys doing? Maybe have a VOD review and see what's going on. But for the most part, like Evelyn makes you have a heavier emphasis on vision than you otherwise wouldn't. And if you want to like be safer in the early game and have less risk involved with like laning, then potentially giving away the Evelyn's a fine thing to do. So I'm not sold on it being banned, and I don't think they would maybe ban it at least in the first 3.
Okay.
I actually just want to ask, did you say you should be buying 2 pink wards?
Well, you can buy 2 on a reset and put one down, sit on the other one, and then if they go to clear the one that you've put down, you can place it in another area to deny gold, or also if you want to move your vision, you don't have to reset again to get another pink ward. So like having 2, if you can afford it, is obviously just like optimal.
All right, so you drop it before they clear it.
Yeah,
so,
they don't get the gold for it, and it goes away, and then you put it in a new spot, and Bob's your uncle.
Mate, that's
that is actually
crazy
really
min-maxing.
smart. I did not.
This is Juve's Jungle Journal. It's like $4.99. There's the free trial done.
Mate, my whole career was just about buying pink woods. So.
Well, you know, let's have a quick discussion about the predictions as well before we do get into the game. Of course, I'm going to be leaning on Twitch chat, who I think got me the W in that last one. So I'm 16-9 at the moment. Jubes, you're sitting pretty at 19-6, but Skimmy's beating you with 20-5. Skimmy, tell us how you do it.
Well, you just sometimes look at the favorites and hope they'll win, and if they don't, you just think maybe I should have flipped a coin. Maybe I should have gone and got a job at McDonald's instead. But that aside, I look at this one, and it's kind of what we've been saying already. You need to see something big from Direwolves. You need a statement game. Whether that be a loss, at least make it incredibly competitive to give us an idea of where you're at in the season. Chiefs, as we've seen, having just beaten PGG, you'd think, okay, they've got a few tricks up their sleeve. But it's a new patch, so things definitely can go awry. But as we've seen from the very first game, it looks like these teams are sticking with what works.
Yeah, what about you, Nat? Let's jump over to the second page and you'll tell me why you've gone for Chiefs.
Look, I already mentioned that I put them pretty high on my power rankings, but they're also definitely showing up. You know, they're not messing around when it comes to games. They're not really focused, I guess. It's a weird way to say it. They're not really focused on who their opponent is. They're just really focused on what game they're playing. And I love that sort of mentality. They've come in really strong this split. And yeah, I think they just kind of, maybe not deserve the win, but they've just been putting in the effort that I think we can see a win from them.
Okay, and I'll quickly touch on it just because Rusty's not here. Yes, Rusty, you're winning the predictions. Good job. Now, we do have some content from the fans. So you guys have been hard at work making some sick content. What is it? It is Darantaris, our lovely Darantaris. He's been getting on here.
Yeah, he loves them, man.
Mammoth_O's crushed by the tree. Oh, he's,
that is a good meme.
That's a really good photo. I don't know where he got that template from, but that works really well.
But you can tell this guy's built different in his designs because, like, if I make this meme, I just slap the mammoth logo on top of that tree. And I'm like, okay, you guys understand, right? But he's gone the extra mile and really just layered the photo.
Oh, beautiful. So, Da, you know, big congratulations for getting on the show again. And also, we love you. Look at all this content you've been producing. Keep doing it. Keep doing what you're doing. And I was going to say we'll hire you, but I know I could hire you as my personal graphic designer to do all the sick content. What about that? Now, if you guys are hungry, I've also got some food on the way from DoorDash as well. So if you want to eat with me while we're watching match number 2, exclamation DoorDash in chat.
What did you order, Mac?
What did I order?
Yeah.
Maybe they want to order the same, and then you could be like,
Tell me.
sharing a meal.
I ordered a bunless burger, well, a lettuce bun burger, and it's southern peri peri chicken. And
Are you
it's
joking?
Huh?
Are you joking when you say bunless burger?
Have you never heard of them?
No.
What is this, witchcraft?
No, you just put lettuce on either side of the burger.
Yeah, it's like iceberg lettuce, so it's like the bigger leaves.
Yeah.
That essentially like just go all the way over all of the contents of your
Just like
burger.
you just massacred my boy.
No, okay, I want to defend it, right?
looks
Because
so
I
lost.
am.
He's so confused.
No,
I
like,
want to defend it because I'm gluten free, and they are like they are really good. They're much better than gluten free bread.
And you can feel like you're eating a real burger again without having to eat the bread, you know?
It's like a glorified
understand.
salad.
Look,
It's so much better.
Gluten free, and I totally understand that. Eat your heart out, but if you can eat the bun, if you are able to eat the bun and you're not eating the buns, that's a crime. That's a crime.
Jules just loves the burger buns.
Mac,
It's true, dude. I love bread. I love bread. If I could eat all the bread in the world, if I could eat loaves of bread back to back to back to back to back, I'd be eating loaves of bread. But my skin can't handle it. Dude.
Okay, fair
So
enough. That's what I'm saying.
I'm
Medical, that's fine. Medical, fine. But anything else, minimum buns with a bit of sugar. The sugary buns. I don't know what they're called. But I actually going to dob myself in since we have time.
Yes, we do have
I
time.
believe we have time anyway.
Yep.
I'm going to dob myself in because I just thought about it, and it's honestly I might even get kicked off.
Oh, okay.
So
Controversial.
I actually on the weekend, I had the last 2 weekends I had a HSP. Okay.
Nice.
And then
Nothing
on the
wrong with
third
that.
weekend, which being the last one, so on Saturday, I thought, okay, I need to eat a bit healthier. So I got what was a HSP, but instead of the chips, I got a salad.
Ew.
You got the salad.
Okay.
Isn't that, what's that? Isn't that the kebab plate?
Compromise.
You're not shocked? You're not like disappointed in me?
No,
You're
no,
okay
Wait.
with it?
I
You
get
need to
kebab
tell us what
plates
sauce you
sometimes.
had, because don't we have somebody on this broadcast, not on
Yeah,
today,
Jordan.
that has the most
I'll
scuffed
add him.
HSP order
There's
No,
no
that's-
sauce,
yeah, that's-
bro, on his
Nah.
HSP.
I've seen
Nah.
it. It's gross. It's so gross. It's
Yeah,
fun.
I'm not shocked by the salad. I'm shocked by the fact that Jordan has rice in his HSP.
Oh, dude,
It's
yeah,
disrespectful.
yeah.
Yeah, salad though. I get all behind that. You want to
Rice
feel a bit
goes hard.
healthier. The
Rice
potatoes
goes
just
hard.
a bit too heavy. I get it. The salad makes sense, but if you're substituting rice for potatoes,
Yeah.
nah.
No.
To be fair, it's much cleaner carbs and less oil in it. Anyway, we're going to go to a short break because the draft isn't quite ready, but hold your horses. We'll be back very shortly with the draft and match number 2 of the day.
Late at night, kiss me in the morning or late at night. Long as you come through, I'ma make it come over and over. I'ma treat you like I'm supposed to. You better never make no time for these. Cause when I ride, I'ma ride with you. I can't with nobody. I can't keep living like this. I can't. I tell her what it is and I tell her what it ain't. She know that I've been all on the walls like I paint. Told her at times I wanna give you trust, but I can't. I really got it out the mud, climbing up the ranks. When they see me outside, I'm a high roller. I've been on a global jet, I fly solo. And I got the Gucci splattered all on the knickknacks. 50 racks, I'm about to break her off like a Kit Kat. And a purse got F's, like the wheels on the back. I just off $1 million, but I still gotta say. Shorty know that I'm the realest, she know I be speaking facts. She know that I'm the same that I was pushing cat. She know I got the game, but I'm never gonna give it back. Every time that we I gotta run it back. Late at night, kiss me in the morning or late at night. Long as you come through, I'ma make it come over and over. I'ma treat you like I'm supposed to. You better never make no time for these. Cause when I ride, I'ma ride with you. I told Shawty never get too comfortable. I like to feel like the untouchable. I like to feel like it's never going one way. I like to see your body dripping, Eliante. I say I like the way I took it on a wave. I had you screaming my name. Late at night, kiss me in the morning or late at night. Long as you come through, I'ma make it come over and over. I'ma treat you like I'm supposed to. You better never make no time for these. Cause when I ride, I'ma ride with you. Ride, 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 ride. Right, 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 right.
Beautiful. Well, it looks like things have been resolved in the back end and we're into the draft. Forget the nameplates at the top because the side plates with the team's players are, that's what we're playing for here today. Chiefs on the left-hand side up against the Direwolves. Chiefs very much in form and the Direwolves still searching for some of that. And a big test here, Juves, in Super Week.
Very big test, and yeah, I just realized what you said. It actually confused me. I legit had no idea, but now I do. Anyway, the Ziggs being banned away is an interesting one for me. And Snip's just been picked up. Only threw that curveball out for him and said, hey, you wouldn't do it. You're not going to pick that one up, are you? And looks like the Chiefs have picked up the Snip.
Certainly have. We've only seen it from Claire in the top lane so far. 2 games played by him exclusively, so be looking to see what Mammoth can do. Well, I say Mammoth now. What can Chiefs do? As I get confused by those nameplates for a quick second. We're going to jump back here as they get fixed in the back end. And yeah, we can obviously just talk about what we've seen so far, which is, well, I mean, as a jungle player yourself, what do you think of Gwen as a jungler?
I have never played Gwen jungle, and I've played quite a few games, I'll be honest with you. I think I'm very slow at adapting to new champs and whatnot. But I think it has its place. It often, it can feel a little bit underwhelming if you don't get things rolling just because you don't have the same income that you do in a solo lane. Like, think about, you don't have all that farm, you don't have jungle camps, you don't, you know, sometimes you're not even involved in like the play, I guess.
Sure.
So yeah, not too sold on it yet. I've seen it be hit and miss. I believe we'll see Pabu play it earlier this split, and I think that was like a little bit of a shambles game, if correct my memory. I think that's when they actually lost to the Chiefs last week. So yeah, not sold on it, but again, it's flexible, right? Can be top, can be mid, can be jungle. So keep your eyes on that. The first 2 picks coming out of Direwolves though, key picks here. Now, again, important to note, only just swapped his summoner to a ghost. And I was going to lead with that. We saw him swap Summoner. He had Flash, swap to Go, so we knew it was going to be the Hecarim. And all of a sudden, Direwolf's composition, first 3, makes a lot of sense.
Certainly does. A lot of ability to pounce upon somebody. We know that, Karma with a lot of these champions, Xin Zhao, Olaf to speak of a few when it comes to the jungling department. Hecarim, one of the OGs, loves the movement speed, so definitely looking to try and find some success. And it does beg the question, where will the Karma go? You mentioned before, Jubes, that you reckon that Oni and Claire already have that synergy built between them, so whether that is to be the case.
Yeah, and I mean, Claire's definitely a player who could play this Karma very well. Probably better than most top laners in the LCO, just because when Claire was a mid laner, Karma was meta for such a long time. Think about Banner of Command meta, and a lot of people probably erased that one from their memory because it was quite a resident sleeper meta. You just drop Banner of Command on your cannon minion and just left. Yep. So, we've woken up since then. We've seen the light, and the game's changed quite a bit. However, in terms of being able to pilot this Karma, Claire would be, fantastic at that. The one thing I wanted to touch on that we've kind of skimmed past was Ziggs banned away in the first 3.
Yeah.
Now, that was in response to Direwolves being the center team, right? Like, they play so much center, and they have so much, I guess, variability in where they can play that. Ziggs can play, Shock can play Ziggs. Gunkrab can play Ziggs, which means Cupcake might be on the center, but there's just so much flexibility in what they can do in draft. I thought I'd just give that a little bit of a mention.
And ever since the 11-12 patch note upgrade, right, he's been really strong, especially in the bot lane. Actually, second highest win rate in the bot lane, if you're looking at, OPGG. So it's definitely been popping off a fair bit in what it can do in pushing power. We'll get to see, though, what the response is here, because if we're talking about summoners, and you talk about the fact that only is hovering the Ghost, we're looking at the flip side right now. Swaif is hovering the Ignite Smite, which would kind of lend its hand to say maybe he is going to be the one to play the Gwen in the jungle.
Yeah, maybe, but again, you have to wonder, did Only set that idea in his mind in the interview? Was that a little bit of tongue-in-cheek? But did he really want him to opt in for this Gwen? Because his counterpick to that Gwen is the Hecarim. Again, I don't think we have a big enough sample size of Gwen in the jungle to suggest we know how the Hecarim and Gwen matchup goes, but that Malphite pick.
Okay, well, that's just a basic guarantee pretty much to what you've said a long time. It's Chiefs will draft a lot of AD. Well, Malphite is the stereotypical anti-AD champion answer.
Yeah, but I mean, like, it's not, they don't have all this AD, right? Because they still have the realm of possibility of putting Gwen top lane. They can even flex this Lee Sin into the jungle if Swaith plays it. Again, he's not necessarily known for his Lee Sin. So that's important to note, right? We have to take player tendencies, player habits, and what they've been known for in the past into account when thinking about this pick ban.
Well, you're looking at Leona Draco. It's not going to be the Yuumi. It won't be the Rengar either.
I hate how he does this. Now
we just wait.
Yeah. Trundle would be a good pick.
Yeah, been seeing a lot more pick and play overseas, especially in answer to a lot of these tanks and bruisers that continue to display themselves. And whilst he's been out the meta for a fair bit of time, obviously Divine Sundero finding its feet and still being incredibly strong despite the changes, still at full value and full effect for the melee champions, does give him a lot of self-sustain and dueling potential.
So the thing about, or the reason why I like this Trundle is because Trundle has a problem sticking to targets, right? If this was Trundle in isolation, like Trundle and, and there's a lot of mobility on the side of Direwolves, I'd be like, okay, there's not much value for this champion. But Malphite has one way in and no way out. So there's going to be so much value for Lived if he plays Trundle, which at the moment he has, for this Trundle ultimate, that this Malphite is just going to turn into quite the squishy champion. Now, Skimmy, it's actually a curveball again, because it's Malphite, but Cupcake on Malphite.
Well, we've got ourselves a new variation of the Fasting Center, don't we? We had the Wukong variant. We've seen Cho'Gath in the past. I actually think I saw on What a Draku streams they were playing Silas Center as well. So certainly anything that can look to try and farm optimally. Not going to be Tahm Kench anymore, unfortunately. His changes have just kind of booted him out of that position. But the Malphite is one that is going to be looking to try and not get one shot blown up by what the Chiefs have.
I'm a little bit confused, but I also really like what Chiefs have done. I wonder, is Gunkrab going to go top lane and Claire's going to play Karma bot lane? Is it going to be center Karma bot lane?
You think they'd flex it like that?
I mean, there's no reason why they can't, right? It just comes down to who's more comfortable playing what. I think Gunkrab's very good and has the capabilities to play, like, I guess, everything. I mean, he's shown that in his career. But, because they've opted in for the Trundle, which they thought would be a matchup for the Malphite, I wonder if they're just going to leave Karma topside into the Trundle, have a field day. There's just so many questions and no answers. But this is what it looks like for now.
Until we get lane assignments.
Yeah. But the interesting thing is traditionally speaking, when you play the center, well, your AD carry plays the center, right? It makes sense. It's the traditional like marksman support champion. But we don't have that. We have Cupcake on the center. So I don't know. There's too much to digest. But the one thing I will say is I really like this Gwen pick into the side of Direwolves, because whilst Direwolves have a dive composition, Gwen, Spell Cage, if you want to call it that, will be able to deny so much damage coming from outside of that perimeter, right? Yeah. Karma projectiles, Orianna Shockwave, center damage. So this Gwen's going to have so much value in this team fight. They have so much disengage on the side of Chiefs with the Pillar, with the Lee Sin kick, even with the Leona, as well as, armor and tank shred, that both compositions kind of, I see a way where it works. But I guess for me, what's interesting is who's playing the champions.
Well, we're going to find out what that looks like in just a second. But before we do, a chance to check in once more with the coach of the Direwolves, with Farmer, who returns back for another week. Mate, talk to me. An 0-2 week last week, not the best, obviously, to look back on in terms of hindsight. Now up against a very informed Chiefs. How's the week been preparing for them?
Yeah, last week was rough. Retrospectively, we weren't happy with where we were, and we weren't happy with, I think we misread the meta a little bit, and it cost us. We weren't informed, but our week's been good. Our prep's been good. We're pretty happy. I'm pretty happy with this draft. And yeah, I don't know what else you can hope for, I guess.
Yeah, well, you speak about meta. Obviously, a brand new patch, which is bigger than some, has changed up a whole bunch of things. What are your makings of 11-13 so far?
Yeah, it's a big shake-up patch. And a lot of, like, for example, Hullbreakers being added and Athena's chains being added, like, kind of should shift it in a way that I think on paper some people might think doesn't favor us, but in our scrims and the way we've been feeling in response to the patch, I feel like everything that's happened is actually favorable to us. So it's just about making sure that we do actually have a good read on the meta and aren't misreading it like I think we did a little bit last week. So yeah, I'm pretty happy with it, to be honest.
Awesome. Well, I want to pick a couple of champions in particular. Shock for the first time in this split, back to a control mage, and the fact that we've got a Malphite for Gunkrab as opposed to him playing the center. Can you talk me through those?
Well, the Orion is just like really, really sick with our comp, right? And the Malphite is, I mean, Gunkrab's like, I think Gunkrab has probably one of the biggest pulls of any bot laner ever to play in LCO. And so it's really cool that we're getting to show it here against probably our biggest competition, or like the biggest competition right now. Yeah, and Malphite's just really good, punishes a lot of their picks, punishes the Varus really hard, works great with this dive comp that we have. So yeah, I mean, it just kind of went the way we wanted. I'm pretty happy about it.
It's a wombo combo for sure, and I'm excited to see how you guys can navigate it. Thank you for your time as always, Farmer. We're going to crack on with this one, and wish you guys the best of luck.
Thanks, guys.
So, Shock back to a control mage. Some things never change. Whilst he did have some fun on the Assassins and the likes of it, he's back to where he's really made some of his most success.
Might even say early 2v2 here. Dracu's just walked up. He's completely left Imboma on an island, and I guess this is what we've begin to know and love from Imboma, right? Dracu's just going to leave him on an island, leave him isolated.
Certainly is. And Imboma, always a champion, always given a champion, I should say, that's allowed to do okay, even in a 2v1 situation like this. Sure, going to be zoned away for a fair bit, and it's going to give Cupcake an ample opportunity to pick up as many souls as possible, but only to actually burn that ghost, just to not only guarantee the scuttle, but ensure the skirmishes in mid and top didn't take place any longer.
Yeah, but the ghost is like a pretty disposable cooldown, right? You can just, couple full clears, ghost is back up, no dramas. So far, so good for this Malphite, center Malphite lane, right? Obviously, Dracu did give them a little bit of a bailout, did leave early on into the lane. Was able to push this one into turret. It's going to bounce back, but they'll get it. They'll base just in time to get a free reset. And this is the matchup that I guess I'm most concerned about, in the sense that Kisei, for me, has been their best player for the Chiefs pretty consistently for the last few weeks. And he's got the Lee Sin pick now, which has been an S tier pick for quite some time.
Yeah.
And it just gives him so much agency. Like, we've seen him already try and deny only off this scuttle crap. You know, he was unsuccessful, got the ghost out of it. But, you know, until Shock picks up some mana items and has some meaningful damage, it's just going to be much of this. Kisei standing in the face of Shock, pushing minion waves in, and coming for the contest.
Contestants, what they'll do is only looks to try and deny things, but then Shock is going to get jumped upon, looking to try and get that execute damage with the Q, but then buffers it with a wall to safeguard away too. Now Claire finds himself in a spot above her, has the vision, has a tri-brush, but that pillar is doing so much work for the uptime of the chomp of this Trundle.
Yeah, and nothing really burnt topside. It's just going to burn TP, come back to lane. The main thing I wanted to touch on was, again, best player on the team or best performing member of the team has already burnt Shock Slash. He's up 10 CS, has all this agency. And it's got to feel bad, huh?
Well, he made the call in the interview. I want you to play this Gwen in the jungle. And he said, leave it up and see what happens. Now they're going to look to try and see exactly what happens. Only going to get jumped on. It's going to be Gwen that picks up the kill. And Swaif with a first blood.
This is just an iconic Chiefs move, right? When we think of the Chiefs and we think of the nameplates that are on this team, right? Mboma, Dragku, Swaith, and Kisei. And it's just like, where would this play happen if Dragku is playing Leona? And of course, it's going to happen on the other side of the map to where his AD carry is. And this is something Mboma does so well. He plays the weak side so safely, and he's rarely getting punished, right? Like, of course, 2 plates are going down, so that's a punish in itself, losing some CS. But what I mean is he doesn't die, and he doesn't even put himself at a risk to lose summoner spells. So he's very content at letting his team do their job. And sometimes, you know, the best teams in the world, that's all they need. They need the player with the discipline to be able to respect when he needs to respect and just play safe when he needs to play safe. And, you know, you could flip the coin here and say, Only needed to do that, right? All Only needed to do was give his Krugs. All he had to do was give Krugs. He saw Dragku, he saw Lee Sin missing from the mid lane, but he wasn't able to do that, and he got punished for it.
Certainly did. And it's always interesting, right, to talk about, you know, weak side, strong side, and so on. And so often do we talk about weak-sided solo laners, especially top side. But I think Mboma navigates it better than most when not receiving the bulk of the resources, knowing that he is a individual that needs time to scale up to find success. His support wants to be aggressive, wants to fuel the narrative that Chiefs play for the early game, play to carry, play to fight. And so far, that fight has rewarded them with not in first blood, but now an inside track to get the first dragon too.
Yeah, and, you know, I guess the good thing about the early dragon is it's Cloud, so it's actually going to be somewhat of a meaningful one, right? You know, you'd be happy with any of the other ones that do pop their head up. And
worth knowing, Juice. Interesting stat for you.
Here we go.
From where we're at right now in the season, it is the Direwolves that have the lowest percentage of acquiring any dragons at all. Only 33% of the games they've picked up a dragon.
Oh, real?
You flip that around and say, okay, well, what about Chiefs? 62% of the dragons have belonged to them.
And it's funny that Chiefs are so high with the way that they like to play the game. And
that might be the all-in, as Mboma actually hits level 6 first. Because of all that solo experience and potential follow-up there from Dragku, and even without the solo flare, you can just see how much sticking power and damage amplification they have between the two of them.
yeah, I mean, if Dragku has the Ignite there, he's dead, right? So, you know, he had to burn the Ignite top side of the map. Loses a little bit of cool threat bot side. Teleport being burnt, but again, that's the flash. Now Gunkrab just has the cleanse, so...
So double cleanse bot lane. He's running no flash. So it seems to be something that's happening more and more. It's filtering from all parts of the map now, from what was top lane through to bot lane. We find it where, well, I'm a champion that doesn't necessarily need my flash. I just need to farm tempo, be it get some cheese in lane for an early kill, and snowball from there.
Well, he had flash, but he had to swap it out because he burnt it. So he flashed away to live, and then the spell book obviously tick over. He just opted in for the cleanse because the flash is on cooldown.
The Power Unsealed Spellbook continuing to just be so strong. And what can allow you to achieve as a result. The kill pressure soon will be in their favor, as level 6 is now there, up for the taking. So talk about wombo combos from the side of the Chiefs bot lane. Well, Direwolves can definitely do the same in their regard too. Whether or not they'll want to, if they're going to go, you know, group up as a full 5-man squad and contest the likes of a Herald or subsequent Dragons, that's when the true strength comes across, as Farmer mentioned.
Well, you also need item breakpoints, right? Like you can't just rock up to that fight on half items, on down farm, on down summoner spells, have the Lee Sin roll up to the fight and just take over. You know, Gwen's getting to a point where she's going to be, you know, a lot stronger than this Hecarim, particularly when she does tick over to this, you know, this first mythic item, because it, you know, only is not a whole bunch behind, but he is slightly behind. And then you think of the game that Kise is having at the moment. Whilst he's only up a little bit of CS, he's playing melee into range. And
well, there's the dash kick and a good flash out there from the Leona ultimate. Would have spelled lights out there for Shock. The pressure continues to mount. The double jungle assault really is what you have to imagine this if you're up against the Chiefs. Because both Swaif and Draku acting as a tag team.
Yeah, Draku again. We talk about this whole Chiefs roster improving a bunch, but big component as to why I think they're having a lot of success. And I partly think it's due to the fact that they've really figured out his identity in the team. You know, he did play quite a few enchanters last season, or last split rather. And this split has just almost exclusively been Blitzcrank, Leona, and just those playmakers where if he leaves, he can actually get stuff done, and the onus is completely on him. And I do think Kuden, a big factor of this, right? We talk about the drafts that he puts together for this team. Sometimes we do think it's a little bit, you know, focused to one damage style being, you know, AD or AP. But, I mean, he's really giving his team the tools to make plays in the early game, and this looks like where they're thriving the most.
Certainly are. Before this game, 100% of the time, Swaif got counter pick in the jungle, but he laid down the gauntlet, said first pick Gwen, I don't care, we can flex it pretty much anywhere. At the last moment then found it as the jungle matchup. He's got the first blood, so he's going to be happy with that one. We talk about it. One of the players in the league that likes to be the carry. Not usually do we see it in the jungle position.
Well, Gwen first pick isn't like, I guess, your traditional I'm blind picking jungle, because it can just go top lane. To be honest with you, I think I did think that Trundle was going to be in the jungle anyway, into the Hecarim and the Malphite, but yeah, he's opted in for the Trundle into the Karma. He's actually winning the lane. It is only 1 CS, but I did think that Claire would at least win this lane early, which he hasn't been able to do. He had to not burn the flash early, but teleport.
Cupcake looking for the chains there on towards Kise as people converge to the mid lane. Once again looking for Prio, waiting for that next dragon to spawn up in 20 seconds. Only posturing through aggressively, then forced to burn the ultimate to dash away because he was an easy picking, no flash. And no jungle smite would have been there to contest. Lives for the meantime, but their wombo combo contest now surely hampered.
I feel like we see this so much in the LCO, right? The Hecarims just burning ulti to disengage because they find themselves mispositioned and in the wrong position.
Looking for it again. Claire the one to start things off, acting as the engage, looking with the tether. No team willing to over-risk things just yet.
Shock has no flash, so Draku... They're getting poked out though. Dival's doing a very good job here, you know, maintaining mid-prio, or at least keeping it neutral, and winning the war of attrition, right? Burning Swaif down to what is less than half, and maybe this might be a very big pickup for Dival's, considering they don't have Hecarim ultimate, no Onslaught of Shadows. Had to burn that one to disengage.
And target selection is fantastic. You have to remove Swaif for 2 reasons, right? The jungle contest and the smite, but also the fact that he has the mist, the ability to just nullify the entirety of the wombo combo. So, with him removed, Dival's able to sneak away a dragon and ensure that the Chiefs can't blow this game wide open.
Look at Guncrab's summoner spells now. If that doesn't say to you, I want to win the 2v2, I want to opt for an all-in, I don't know what does, because what's important to note here is Mboma doesn't have a defensive summoner spell outside of the flash, right? Like, he doesn't have the heal, doesn't have a cleanse. Obviously, he doesn't need the cleanse, but there's the realm in which, like, that ignite is enough to send Mboma through to lethal, particularly if you land, like, the unstoppable force.
So he wants the staying power as he's got himself the Bramble. Ability to tank up the turret if he is going to go for some turret dives. Good progression once again shown towards top side as Swaif is looking for the all-in, and we'll just find it. Clear disrespected it. The thumbs up goes there. And a second chance to pop yet into top lane. And another kill found by Swaif.
Yeah, I mean, that's just, like, simply put, disrespectful from Claire, right? He had to burn the flash to disengage, got himself out, and I think what he was trying to do was keep Swathe interested. Keep Swathe interested enough in the gank because reinforcements were coming. But I don't know, just didn't know the limits of the Gwen. We're going to get a replay here. Burns the flash, he's out, he lives, and then, yeah.
Yeah, baiting time there for the rotation, right, between the Orianna as well as the Hecarim. The Dawning Shadow wasn't going to hit him. Just a bit of miscommunication.
Miscommunication, probably didn't account for Conqueror, you know, stacking up there, as well as the dash coming out of Swathe. But again, you have to say, a little unacceptable, that death, right? If we're being critical, that is an unacceptable death because Swathe all of a sudden goes base, picks up what is 1.5 items now. Nearly has the Rift Maker completed, so it's getting to dangerous territory, right? Because you don't ever... The one thing we talked about when we talked about Gwen in the jungle is like, it has to get going. It has to get accelerated. And, you know, we're at a point...
Doesn't get any easier in the solo lane either because Liv rocks up to this lane now with the Divine Sunderer. The Subjugate was basically roasting his mitigation. That turret is non-existent. Clear looking for an empowered Teva to try and top himself back up, and both down to 20%. No rotation in sight. Gwen once again topside looking for it. You have no flash, Clear. You need to run away. The player interrupts him, and there is just no chance. It might be delayed, but he's going to get run down. Swathe now has 3 kills to his name. He's well and truly online.
Yeah, and I wanted to touch on it before he picked up even another kill, but the champion that we said needed to kind of get the ball rolling all of a sudden is at level 11, same level as his solo laners, as well as having 3 kills, 300 gold bounty. And if this Gwen wasn't online before that, she's well and truly online now because she's even hitting top turret. I think she's even farming top wave, right? And it's the Chiefs squad has figured out, I guess, an identity where it's maybe the one of, again, hold the thought.
Looking for it on towards Gun Crab. Flash or not, it does not matter. He's just dead and gone. Kisei following, Kisei hunting. He wants himself a second kill. Going to be easier said than done, though, on towards the center as Cupcake looks to lock them in place and deny their tempo. Just a fraction longer. Pings on the minimap, and it looked like there was an inside track on towards taking Shock out too. 2 plays in the map at 2 times. It's Chiefs just playing with so much confidence.
Yeah, they're just losing both sides right now, and you know, generally speaking, when you win topside, you have to get something on the other side of the map. But Direwolves just look so disjointed. They're not trying to make plays bot side of the map. Like Mboma's just been able to play weak side all game, pick up a CS lead. Of course, it is into fasting center, so we expect to see a little bit of a disparity there. But he's not really ever been forced off turret bar that one time. Like he's not been doved. He's not been threatened. There's just been no threat cross map from Direwolves, and it's showing. Like we're seeing a 5k gold lead just balloon out because again, nothing's happening when Claire's being punished. You know, nothing's happening because only I think feels kind of the need to power farm or to try and just match tempo with Swathe when Swathe is just farming solo lanes. Like he's getting kills and literally farming solo lanes. And again, not something that we see from junglers traditionally in a competitive sense, but this identity really does work for the Chiefs.
Yeah. And I'm sure there's a degree of copium, you could say. Well, it's only a karma that you're taking behind, right? It's not the end of the world, right? He's got the Shrillers. That's all that's really necessary to try and group up the rest of the team. Item breakpoints are soon to be there, but will it be too little too late? As the Shockwave goes out, it tickles the health bars of the 2 members of Chiefs caught inside its position. Guncrab, well, his ultimate's already been burnt. And, well, another dragon spawning. Another chance for Chiefs to pick it up.
Yeah, and I mean, Draku just landing the Soul Flare into Cupcake. No cleanse. Very good timing of that Summoner spell. Cupcake still had flash, so again, being critical, maybe has to flash that one there, right? If he flashes, Guncrab was on the flank looking to re-engage, but again, Swathe on this Gwen was just prime positioning, sitting on top of Mboma to stop anything that was, you know, ensuing or anything that going to come on through from the Direwolves.
So my point being, before we had that fight, is that, you know, the Direwolves as a squad still have the Wombo combo. If they can get a few items on those champions that lead that Wombo combo, then it's not all doom and gloom necessarily.
It's not, and particularly because Chiefs do have laners, or at least, you know, in Mboma's case, that are quite immobile, right? You think about the Varus, like, with the Malphite ulti up, with the Hecarim ulti up, can play the game every 5 minutes, right? Because eventually one of those kind of key ultimates, either the Onslaught of Shadows or Unstoppable Force, is going to land. And then you take down Mboma, then you start to reassess the fight. Maybe there's someone else we need to take down, but the scary thing for me is that, okay, you take Mboma down, you use your cooldowns, the ultimates go down. What's left in the tank to kill Swathe? what's left to kill Kisei, because again, whilst they're kind of quote-unquote bruisers, at this point in the game, with this substantial lead, they just do too much damage. Like, Shock doesn't do enough to them, but they do enough to Shock.
They just need another 10 minutes, really, to get themselves back into this one, to find some time to match up the power. But it's easy said and done, because at this current trajectory, it's the Chiefs that find themselves at the 20-minute mark, up by 6,000 gold. Happy days for them. 2 turrets to nothing lost on their own account. Sitting pretty with the vision on the map, and quite confidently finding picks in all the areas that matter.
Yeah, and a little bit of freeze here from Gunkrab. So I think they've decided to put a halt in this game, to decide, okay, we'll just farm up some items, maybe deny a few minions there. And then in doing so, it's just going to force Chiefs to do what they do best. And it's going to make them pick a lane, pick an objective to play around. And you could already see they're trying to dive mid lane turret, all because Gunkrab's opting in for the freeze, and the turret goes down.
It does. 3 towers now, 2-0 as a response. And, well, we'll forget about that one, Kisei. Nobody saw it.
He's TPing.
TP goes out, so they've baited up Kisei, but he's now responding with his own TP. The Unstoppable Force is soon to be there. When is it going to go out? Who's he going to find? What's it looking for? They're waiting for the carrier of the ball for that shockwave to land to try and get the kill. The one shot. Oh! It comes on through, and then Kisei's dead. They find the kills they need. They found 2, and they removed both the mid lane and the bot lane carry.
If Shock TP's back, is this a Baron angle? This could possibly be a Direwolves Baron. Mboma has teleport though. Are Direwolves taking stock of that? Teleport through topside from Liv. He has no subjugate, so he's quite squishy.
Certainly is, but he has a flash. So he can afford to be a little bit risky. Draku got the Hex Flash, looking to wind things up, and he's another 20 seconds at least before he can go for that solo flare. Then he's going to turn upwards, go straight towards Liv. He's already burnt the flash, but he might just get run down here. An empowered Hecarim running straight at you. The mist is there, but he's running, he's gunning, and he's left to tell the tale, Jubes, down to 400.
And Boma's TP'd in as well, so this is still dangerous for the side of Direwolves. But they've done very good. They've done very well there, rather. They've picked up a couple of kills, burnt a few summoner spells, got a few teleports, and if you're a Direwolves fan, that's kind of what you're hoping for when you see this composition, right? You know, group up, get together, stop playing for the side lane, because they've kind of fallen or made their own trap, right? When you think about how Direwolves have played this early game out. They've opted in for the solo kills. They've opted in for the 2v2, the 1v1s in the side lane, and they've been punished for it. But their composition, as we see, fares extremely well in the 5v5.
There's no denying it. It's a comp built for the 5v5, and we'll get to see what that 5v5 looked again. The TPs came in, and it's just about target selection at this point.
Mboma didn't use flash here, by the way. Not saying that he'd live, because there's definitely a Malphite ultimate going to follow. That shield, though. It's a big shield. Nice flash ult there from Gunkrab, and maybe time to get excited, Skimmy. Maybe we do have a game on our hands. I know there's quite a significant gold lead on the side of Chiefs, but when you put all the pieces together,
Just gives you a bit of a taste test, doesn't it, of what is to come. And you start to wonder, okay, a few more dragons and you're playing for a soul point. Direwolves at least bought themselves 5 minutes with the one they denied away. And if there is going to be the stereotypical, you know, Baron Dragon dance, then there is a chance to set yourself up, with vision permitting, to go for the wombo combo, the denial, the steal, or at least the wipeout of those Baron buffs.
Important thing to note too that... Oh.
Good flash.
Maybe the re-engage comes through here, though. No solar flare anymore. Third dragon on the table here for both teams, Skimmy. Nice poke. And this is what we weren't seeing, right, from the side of Chiefs. We weren't seeing them utilize this Varus. It is the lethality Varus.
Yeah, he's got the Serpent's Fangs, so doing work into Claire's Karma shields. Shredding through them like butter right now. Anathema's Chains is being picked up by Lived as well. Looking to try and lock and place a key target. Yet to see who that one might be, but Gunkrab gets locked in place so far. Swave jumping in. The Ruthless Onslaught is absolutely huge, knocks up 4 people. But Gunkrab dies anyway, it doesn't seem to matter. The Direwolves are finding 2, only found 2, but it's a battle between both of these junglers who can get the uptime and who can try and turn things around, who can get the chance to be the hero on this occasion. As Shock is forced into his own jungle. That just gives easy pickings for Swave to cycle through and find more. Oh no, oh no. Delete the VOD, there's a quadra kill as he jumps in, he went golden. And disrespected.
And they did just get outplayed there, right? I mean, that's what a gold lead team fight looks like, because I don't think, in terms of Direwolves executing, could have played that much better, right? You know, they landed multi-man Shockwave, multi-man Unstoppable Force, and it still wasn't enough. Like, look at the damage coming out through from both sides. Again, Direwolves were the ones, sorry, Chiefs were the ones that called this fight. Draki says, I've had enough, I'm just going to go on Gunkrab. He is the Malphite. Subjugate comes on through, and Imboma is untouched. That's the important thing to notice here. Such a clean kick coming out of Kisei. He trades his life, but what's important about that is he takes away the sole kind of damage threat, if you will, from the sides of Direwolves. You know, the center being that, I guess, quote-unquote 80 carry. And then Swayth just a little bit too clean here. Snip, snip, snip into the Zonyas, and Shock's had enough. He walks away.
So it does. Did the most damage in that team fight, did he? Quadra will always help with that.
Yeah, definitely. But
7-0-1.
Yeah.
Surely we're going to see some pages on that book in a second. 10 stacks on the seal.
I'm disappointed he hasn't gotten the book already. I mean, if you're 7-0-1, and there's been no situation until probably the last one where you look like dying, and there's not a book in your hands, that says to me you're scared.
He's got the Zonyas now, so surely the protection is there. You know you've got this insanely huge lead that you can take fights, not really care. The wombo combo, you know, as we saw, with it all overlapping beautifully, it wasn't enough to take down anyone.
Direwolves team comp is just too hard to kill. Oh, sorry, Chiefs team comp is just too hard to kill now, right? And we talk about the Karma comp, you know, being the one that, I guess, has the durability to survive with all the empowered shields coming on through. But I mean, they're just too much of a deficit for that to matter. I just don't see, you know, a realm in which they have enough juice in the tank to get through this Trundle. And sure, if they do that, how do they get through Drag Crew? And yeah, if they do that, what about Gwen and Lee Sin, right? There's just too many threats and damage profiles on the side of Chiefs at the moment, particularly paired with Subjugate, to allow Direwolves really any access into this game, or any access at least to contest these neutral objectives.
Direwolves still hunting for their first turret. They're grouped up mid, looking to try and take down the tier 1. Cupcake caught out of position, has no cleanse, has no flash, but at least he has a Karma shield. Now they run into the bottom side of the river, but the poke from Imboma is relentless. And when the shields are down, yeah, real risk of just falling down.
Well, we need to take stock here, though.
Oh, that's just a flash. And that's an unstoppable force onto 4. Thrown up there by the Hecarim 2. But where's the damage afterwards? The CC was good, but the wombo after isn't there. It's a 2-man Shockwave. But Gunkrab's already down. They are wrestling for mid lane control. Ooh. But the quiver, the arrow, the Legolas attention here from Imboma. He just don't miss.
I mean, I was just going to say how Direwolves might have a chance here, because Trundle Ultimate is down, so therefore the tanks will actually be able to be a tank, right? You know, Malphite's not going to get shredded, Hecarim's not going to get shredded. And that's just Baron going down so fast.
Not a bad time to pick up a Baron. It's going to be up and available for when they go for this Ocean Soul contest too. A lot of power on their sides, and, well, they're just finding the success. They've got the poke, they've got the denial, and they got the hard initiate afterwards to follow once they realize enough is enough. And even after Gunkrab went for the wombo combo, just an absence of damage afterwards to follow.
Yeah, he went for the wombo combo, but again, the Spell Immune Shield coming up, it kind of was what stopped Shock from following up with that Shockwave, right? Like, because he has to be within that, you know, in that realm. And obviously, if Shock puts himself in harm's way like that to do damage, then that team fight's as good as lost anyway. So, bit of an overreach there from Direwolves. You have to say, though, like a little bit earlier, we did kind of see, I guess, what Direwolves' composition wants to do, but they were just too much of a deficit and had no damage. Like, they keep trying to group, and we can see them they're just running down a lane, like it's just non-stop. But in doing so, look at the CS, the level discrepancy now. You know, Gunkrab's level 12 and Boma's level 13. You know, level 16 on Swayth, level 14 on Only. Kisei, even levels with Shock, which is something, I guess, but it's just it's tough.
It's really a rough position to be in, right? Because you can't afford to side lane because that's not where you excel at. You can't afford to not be grouped up because otherwise your comp doesn't do anything. So they are bleeding in the top lane, opening up more turrets. Kisei presenting them with a potential inhibitor to play around afterwards.
Now, Gunkrab has TP. But again, Soul Point. It's Ocean Soul.
Looking onto only. He's going to deny that solar flare. Look to use his own ultimate to try and disengage away from the Dawning Shadow. It was there, but it's just not enough. Once again, another shockwave onto one key target, onto Swave. As he comes out of the zone use, he gets exhausted. He gets unstoppable forced, but he still survives, Jubes. Direwolves just cannot find this kill. They cannot remove this man from the game.
Oh.
And if you thought you forgot about that man on your screen and Mboma is still waiting in the wings, just hitting you from afar.
Yeah, I mean, these team fights, it's going to sound really weird to say, some of these team fights don't look too bad for Direwolves until you take stock that they're 10k down and there's just nothing left for them to get, like, lethal, right? You know, Kisei escapes with a slither of health. Swathe, slither of health. You have to think, like, I guess if I'm being optimistic, like, the idea is there for the Direwolves, but the execution has just been far superior from the Chiefs. And I'm trying to find positives here, Skimmy.
Well, that's what I was going to ask you as the next question, right? You know, we're looking at a situation where Chiefs really have the world at their disposal.
Yeah.
Wombo combo is always fun to talk about, but once they've, you know, lost their bang for buck.
Well, if I'm being completely honest, like, this Direwolves composition looks like one that's kind of lost a little bit of confidence, right? Let's put out all of our eggs into this Wombo combo basket because, you know, we don't think we're going to beat Chiefs in the traditional sense. In a game where, you know, we have to play the 1-3-1, the 4-1, you know, the vision denial. Like, what's easy and what you do for teams that, I guess, are struggling a little bit is, like, you just build them this, like, R-button comp. I feel like that's what they've gone for, but there's just so much missing and so much left to be desired. But, again, can't take anything away from how the Chiefs have played this early game, right? Draku's been a big pillar of that success. He's been the one that's really allowed Swathe to I guess, have the game that he's having. You know, leaving Mboma multiple times. Mboma doing his job on the weak side, picking up kills and assists top side of the map. So it's just been a very good holistic team performance.
Maybe Draku just a little bit angry that the gyms are closed right now with the Sydney lockdown.
Angry gaming?
He's taking it out on the Rift and just so happens to be that the Direwolves are his opposition today.
Yeah. So Ocean Soul, more than a 10k gold lead. Solo lanes pushing in. I say solo lanes because at this point, Swathe is a solo lane. And Trundle is in fact the jungler now.
He really is. I mean, he's the highest level on the game, isn't he? Level 17. We've seen that a few times from Swathe. It just feels like that interview is one of those moments you can chalk down to moments that didn't really age too well.
Which one?
You know, give me the Gwen, see what happens.
Yeah.
This is what is happening.
Yeah. They did ask for it. They did. And, you know, now are we going to see, you know, Gwen jungle be priority? Is Gwen jungle the priority now? Because we've seen Gwen in solo lane, and whilst, like, it absolutely pops off and there's no denying how strong that champion is, this is arguably maybe the strongest Gwen performance we've seen in the LCO thus far, and it's been in the jungle.
Yeah, for sure.
And it's like, what do you pick into it, right? Like, what are the picks in the jungle that you pick into Gwen? Because it doesn't feel like there's many answers.
Certainly not as many players that are willing to get given this much attention as well to make it work. You said it needs to find success, much like a lot of these champions that hit level 6 and have to make their first ultimate count. Says, forget about that. I'll just make it count even before that. Searching for kills whilst you're searching for farm. And putting themselves into this situation now. 12k is the gold lead. It's a huge lead. And it seems like the writing really is already there on the wall. A Baron to spawn in 15 seconds. If the game even goes that long, we've got an Elder to play in just over 2.5.
It's just going to be...
Here is the Baron, as we're looking to start things off here. And we'll see what they decide to do. Swathe looking for the angle, looking to lead that line right now, jumps it into Solid Flare, doesn't connect, but it doesn't really matter. Mboma finds the angle, finds the kill, and removes Cupcake. They were banking on this center, getting strong. I don't know how many stacks he has, but he won't do much when he's dead. And now the Baron is there for the taking. The Baron is there for them to get onto quite confidently too. The sustain, forget about the fruit, because they've got an Ocean Soul to play around. Gunkrab and Shock, they have the wombo combo. They're 1-4 between them. Can they make it stick this time? Is the mist up and available for Swape? We're looking at the flanking angle. He's up on a high ground right here, forcing out Only, who hits the ultimate defensively to try and get back to the mid wave. It doesn't matter, he's dead. Now they find his second kill. The kick on towards the Varus as they try and find Moment to get some kind of trade back into this game, but it doesn't seem to really matter. Liv is just going to pick apart Shock. He is a bruiser, a tank, and everything and more. And then in the top lane, where the top tower is crippled, they might find one more by deleting him too.
There's nothing really elegant about it. It's just Chiefs peeling off the Baron. Dai was feeling like they needed contest in the 4v5, and it's just a 12k gold lead turning off a Baron. I mean, there's really just methodical. Chiefs not really risking the smite steal. You know, whether or not that's the shockwave coming on through, whether that's only getting into the pit, they just decide to turn. And it almost feels like they're playing with their food at this point, right? It's 35 minutes in. The gold lead just continuously growing. There's an Ocean Soul. And it just feels like they've put all the eggs into the Ocean Soul basket that they're going to hang around and wait for the Elder. That's what it feels like.
They just want to make sure that they get a few more accolades under their belt right here. We look at the fight, right? It starts multiple skirmishes in multiple different areas, but really those fights are being won individually everywhere.
Yeah, I mean, Swathe just soloing Hecarim out. Hecarim trying to disengage over the wall there, doesn't get over. Shock does on the back end pick up a kill, and I feel like, you know, from being honest, he's been their little beacon of light, right? He's had a decent game, 1-1-4, 10 CS per minute almost. Not much has gone wrong, I guess, if you're a Shock fan, but...
Well, what can he do in this situation? Once again, the Solidator initiate to start things off with Kisei in the belly of the beast, looking to try and take down somebody with a Q execute. Running for Shock, but Shock is protected, double shields, and double mitigation as he can live for just a fraction longer. But now Swaith, the man with all the kills and the plan, gets himself a double, gets himself a quadra, give this man a penta. It has been the Swaith show here today. It started with a kill onto Claire.
Wow.
And it won't end with a kill on Claire because Kisei gets the ace.
Can I just say, when the Lee Sin Q landed, there was absolutely no way Kisei wasn't following that one up. I would bet my house that he's following that Q up. And what a dominant performance from the Chiefs, right? I mean, we talk, I'm waiting for kind of the hiccup. I'm getting hyped up for the Chiefs, you know, hype train. Yeah. I'm waiting for the hiccup. But that hiccup isn't coming, and they're actually looking better week upon week upon week.
They certainly are. We talked about a lot of these teams finding success across the years of OS competition, right? You talk about the Order with their playoff buffs. We talked about how Direwolves historically have taken a little bit of time to try and ramp up to getting successful come playoffs. But as it stands, you know, Chiefs from the very get-go looking strong. New patch, unfazed, actually running pretty confidently with a new patch. With the Anathema's chains picked up there by Liv Strundle. They look like a team, as you said, so eloquently, they were playing with their food, Mac. And you told us before you were eating some food, so, you know, where are you at?
Look, my food was not as good as the game. It was pretty good, but that game was just great to watch. You know, a bit of a Gwen diff from the get-go. Good to see Gwen getting some playtime and in some skilled hands so far. A few times when Gwen has been picked, it hasn't looked maybe as great as what we've seen overseas. But, you know, in the hands of, who was it again? Swaith, sorry. It just looked so damn good, you know. And then it was right. It was like Direwolves were hitting their perfect setups, but unfortunately had no follow-up in a lot of these fights. It was like the ultimate wombo combo that they had drafted for, just never actually got off. And then off the back of that as well, the whole game Chiefs, it just seemed like they never overextended once.
Yeah, they didn't, and I mean, this is the evolution of Chiefs, right? Because what started off as, I guess, as an inexperienced squad, one that was just blood-hungry, often finding themselves getting caught and making games hard to close out, but they're really not giving Direwolves any avenue back into this game. And arguably, Direwolves have a composition this game where they find ways back in. So, you know, it's so hard to play against the hard engage comp because you can throw. There's so many moments where you can get caught, you can throw, you can die. And even though Direwolves were landing the perfect wombo combo, Chiefs was still good enough to outplay and far ahead enough that it didn't even matter. So again, the evolution of Chiefs at the moment looking quite scary. Like if you're a Pentanet, if you're a Peace, and you're watching these games, you start to think a little bit of Monka S.
Oh, yeah. Monka S, you reckon? Well, what was supposed to be the DPS there for Direwolves? Was it Senna, and then she just kept on getting completely destroyed early fight?
I'll be honest, with the way that Direwolves did draft, I I do probably have more questions than answers.
I mean, in an ideal sense, you'd want the center to get as many souls as possible, the game to be, you know, not too far behind and show you able to shoot from afar and be like, cool, I've got them low to try and emulate what Mboma is able to do. Now the wombo combo sticks. I'm not too concerned about, you know, the mists of Swaif's Gwen. But the guy was literally getting back-to-back quadra kills, and it felt like to me that they were sending a message to the Direwolves like, you're not having fun right now. We're not going to let you have fun. That would be one of those very depressing losses to take, I'm sure.
Quick 2-second point, Mac, if you don't mind.
Yes, take the 2 seconds.
The other thing is that like your AD carry didn't play center. Your AD carry, like your Gunkrab, who's like one of the best ADs I still think on our server, did not play the AD carry. So for me, that's just question marks, like head scratcher. What's going on there?
I was thinking that as well. That was one of the questions I was going to ask: is why is Gunkrab not getting put on the ADC when he's finally supposed to be back in the ADC role? Regardless, it's a question we can have answered another time because we're bringing Nat back in because we love Nat and Nat loves interviews. Nat, who do you have for the loving interview, the winner's interview?
I'm going to be asking Mboma some questions about that game. Congratulations on the win. I mean, you guys round out the first bit of this split, only having one loss from the top of my head. I don't know, that could be wrong. But I want to ask how you guys are feeling after that win. You know, was that a win that you were expecting to get?
Yeah, we're feeling pretty good after the win. I think we were definitely expecting to get that win, and I think Swaith really wanted to snip today, so we gave him a chance to snip, and yeah, he did really well.
That is a question I have. Were you guys already intending on picking Gwen, or was it a bit of the pre-game interview pushing you more towards that Gwen?
We joked about it a little bit, but yeah, no, Swaith just likes picking Gwen, so we sort of picked it, and everyone worked around him, and yeah, it worked out really well.
Was there any point that you felt you guys had overextended and potentially opened a doorway for Direwolves to come back into that game?
Yeah, I'll be honest, I think I entered my position once. That game was pretty bad, and I don't think it was game losing. I think that they sort of got a TP flank or something, and then I didn't flash. But I think that for the most part, we were pretty ahead. Like, even though Leona was roaming a lot, I had a pretty good CS lead in that lane. So I feel like we had all our lanes doing pretty well. The only one that was pretty strong was the Orianna, but then other than that, they had like Merc Tread center, like 0 damage. They had no damage, so we sort of just knew that if we kill Orianna, like, they have no chance of like winning the fight really, because they can't kill all 5 of us. Maybe they kill 1, but yeah.
I love it. And I want to know the difference between you and Draku down bot from split 1 to now has been an amazing progress. So I want to know what you feel that you have done personally that has just taken your bot lane to the next level.
I think for me, in split 1, I was just playing from Perth on 70 ping, and we weren't scoring much, we weren't practicing much. But now I've come to Sydney, I'm playing on low ping, playing 10,000 games a day. We talk about the game a lot. I think our laning phase is pretty good, and we also scrim a lot more this split, so we get to practice a lot of different things and picks. So you might see like a lot of weird picks out of us, especially Tristan plays like, he's played Tryndamere, Trundle, and then, you know, I'll play Heimer. Like, we'll play lots of weird stuff. And then even the Gwen jungle this week is something that, like, I don't think any other team is going to do. So I think, just to put it simply, like, practice makes progress, and we've been making a lot of progress through practicing. So I'm pretty happy.
You guys have absolutely blown me out of the water this split. The last question I want to ask, though, is coming into round 2 of this split, who do you think is going to be your biggest competition? Who are you most afraid to come up against?
Yeah, I think it's going to be Peace. I think, you know, I really want to get some justice for Aldoric tomorrow. I think that we can definitely, like, match up well into them this time. We actually haven't beaten them yet. So I really want to make sure we win tomorrow and, you know, avenge Aldoric. So that's sort of what I'm looking forward to.
Well, I'm looking forward to that game now too, but thank you so much for joining me, and congratulations again on the win.
Thanks, Nat.
I think we're all looking forward to that. So
you right there, Juice?
He's just fixing his eyebrows, you know?
A bit of a temple pain.
Such an intense match.
Temples were pounding there for a second.
Speaking of intense matches, have a look at this. The scoreboard, it was almost a 20k gold diff. It was a whole lot of dragons going over towards Chiefs there, and just a bit of a whitewash. However, if you have a look over on the right side there, you do have a whole lot of damage on the Orianna. 25k. That's pretty good. Is that something? Is that something to be looking at there, Jubes?
Yeah, I don't think Shock played too bad. I said he was probably the shining light on that team, and if he had a little bit of help, maybe we're talking about a different ball game. I think Claire's damage, if I'm being brutally honest, is just like inflated because he's just throwing Qs at a trundle the whole lane, and he's actually trying to win a 1v1 when he should be playing for the group.
Okay.
But that's a different conversation. But yeah, Shock had a respectable performance.
Well, there you have it. So that's looking pretty good. But something else that we love, and I'm sure everyone at home loves, and I'm sure you guys on the desk know who it is. It is the DoorDash player that delivered. And for this game, it is none other than Swaith, because he has been popping off in the jungle 2 games in a row. But also look at that, 85% kill participation, the 28% damage share, but also the 26% gold share as well. But again, Jubes, I think Rusty might be angry, even with such a lead. The ward's placed, only 6. What's going on there?
I feel like if you have a 20k gold lead, it goes one of 2 ways, right? You've only placed 6 wards because they've actually not been allowed out of their base to clear the wards because Direwolves just kept running down mid.
True.
So if the wards aren't getting cleared, you're not going to have that many placed, right? In the sense that your pink ward's just permanently sitting in that bush that you wanted in that whole game. So he gives Swaith the benefit of the doubt. His wards were never cleared. He's disciplined. He's a gamer. And he was going to buy all the wards if he needed to.
Is that the only game where you would allow someone to not buy 2 pink wards on reset?
Nah, like two, if you're playing jungle or support and you're not getting 2 pink wards on reset, then
there's never an excuse.
Nah, never an excuse. Never.
Well, look, if you keep a close eye on the game, maybe he did just have 2 pink wards just sitting there waiting for his pink ward to be cleared. However, it's a discussion for another time because we've got a 3rd game to get to. That's going to be Pentanet and Gravitas coming up after the break. Ladies and gents, don't go too far. We'll see you for that just after this.
Might be, but Gunkrab gets locked in place so far. Swave jumping in.
Top way.
The Ruthless Onslaught is absolutely huge, knocks up 4 people. But Gunkrab dies anyway, it doesn't seem to matter. The Direwolves are finding 2, only found 2, but it's a battle between both of these junglers who can get the uptime and who can try and turn things around, who can get the chance to be the hero on this occasion. A shot. Well, what can he do in this situation? Once again, the Solid to initiate to start things off with Kisei in the belly of the beast. Looking to try and take down somebody with a cube execute. Running for Shock, but Shock is protected. Double shields and double mitigation as he can live